So what we are going to do today is annual oil change and service procedure on a Audi Q3, and we have bought all the parts required: engine oil, oil filter, fuel filter, and air filter. We'll actually inspect what I'm talking about. We'll inspect one or two things like suspension plus tire wears and alignment, etc. So first thing you need to do is start the car and let it running for 10 minutes at least, so that the oil can drain faster and much more easier. So I'm gonna start the car and we'll let it run for 5 to 10 minutes. So meet you after 10 minutes. So after 10 minutes, very first thing we have to do is we have to disconnect one of the terminals of battery. In this case I am undoing a positive terminal and remove it completely out of the way. Yes, need my both hands. So drop the idea of removing the positive, as the battery box was coming in the way of cable, and remove the negative instead. One of the same things, no issues. So the very next thing after switching off the engine is we have to get underneath the vehicle and remove the under protection shield of the engine, which is I guess T30 screws. So once we undo that, I'll show you what to do next. So there are a combination of screws, three different types of screws to remove the engine shield. These are normal T20, T25 up front, and on both of the sides we have a Phillips head half turn screws. They undo only on the half turns, and in between, like this place and same up front here, you can see that it's a T40. So after opening these screws, you can actually remove the engine shield. So now the engine shield has been removed. So this is the engine shield. You can check that these two were this and that one was T40, and these screws on the side, which are Phillips head, are actually just quarter turn screws. So they lock and unlock very easily. And on the front side of there were three T20s. So easy job to do. Now we have to unbolt the sump plug and drain the oil. So now what you have to do is remove the engine dipstick a little bit so that the air can pass easily, and loosen the oil cap, so that the air can pass in and the oil can drain easily and much faster. So next thing, draining the oil. So similarly, a size 19 sump plug, I have already loosened it. Now I'm just trying to not make a mess on my hands, and that's pretty much all you have to do. Try not to make a mess of your hands. Got successful. So drained the oil and placed the sump back into the position. And now what we have to do is we are working up front at the top. We'll place the engine shield back on at the very last. The very next thing is the oil filter element, and we have removed the engine cover, and we have already unscrewed the vacuum sensor and put it aside so that we can clear some space for the oil filter element, or more likely we also need to unscrew two bolts, one this T30 and one this T30, so that we can move this hard pipe a little bit to create some additional space. Okay, guess enough of the space is created now so that we can take it out. So it needs a 32 millimeter socket. And we need to unscrew it. So we have loosened it. Now we have to pick it up carefully so that oil doesn't drip that much on the engine block. You can't stop it completely, but yes, you can actually reduce its amount. And before swapping out the oil filter element, we have to keep in mind that we need to swap the O-rings as well. There are 3 O-rings in the new pack. Hope you can see it. And there are 3 O-rings on the housing as well. 1, 2 and 3. So we have to change all 3 of these with the help of either a needle pick or a screwdriver, and put a light film of oil over the new O-rings so that you can see it properly. So the new O-rings are installed and the old ones are out. Now we have to place the oil filter. So you can see that there is a marking called top on the oil filter. So don't think it is going to be like this. This is the top position, when the top final position when the element is resting inside the oil filter housing. So ideally this is how it rests. So the top position is that one. So it is going to be installed this portion down, and you have to press it hard so that it can lock on, and now you have to install it back onto its position. So the new oil filter element has been installed. The very last turn of the housing will be very tough, but don't get scared, as the oil filter is making a space to have a proper seal. So the next thing you have to do is put this pipe, screw this pipe back on, and the vacuum sensor as well. Next thing we are going to do is air filter. So what you have to do in air filter, here is the MAF sensor, mass airflow sensor. So you have to slide this white lock upwards, press it and remove the coupler, place it aside. Next thing is, this is a vacuum line. You can pull it hard and it will disconnect. Now you can already see that I have already loosened the screws of air filter assembly. So I'll just remove all the screws and replace the air filter. Now what we are going to do is just pull it up, pull the whole air filter out, and we'll replace it with a new one. So now the air filter has been changed. The next thing is placing the things back on where they were. MAF sensor connected, locked. So next thing is fuel filter. Torx bits again, T20 I guess. We have to open 5 T20 screws in total and replace the diesel filter element. Now the diesel filter is changed as well. Now it's time to put the new oil in, and for that we are using our old trusted Top Tech 4100. So now we have done all the things needed to be done in annual maintenance: oil change, oil filter, air filter, and fuel filter as well. So it's the first time. After that we are trying to start the car. So there are chances that you can encounter various malfunction lights on your cluster, so don't freak out, that's a normal thing. For that you need a OBD2 tool, and as we have removed the fuel filter, so we have to pump the air out of the system before starting. So that is the reason why I'm switching on and off the ignition again and again. So the time to start the vehicle. So the vehicle has started, everything has been done. Two warning lamps, one is of electronic power steering and another is traction control system, plus TPMS. We have to clear that out. I can reset the TPMS from here after checking the tire pressure, and traction control and EPS, we have to clear those out with the help of OBD tool, and we are going to do that next. So after the OBD adapter, we cleared out all the faults. The steering system fault has been cleared. I guess the TPM is not getting erased. Maybe in reality there is one or more tires that is actually running under pressure, so I will check that first and then try to do it again. So this is how we change engine oil and do a annual maintenance on a Audi Q3.